Hello and welcome to my recommendations for the Steam Summer Sale 2022. Today we'll look at a range of games from small indies to games that you can sink hundreds of hours into that are all available for a bargain, and hopefully there'll be something for everyone. As usual, we have three categories: games under £5, games under £10, and games over £10. So let's start with games under £5. So, kicking things off for the summer sale, we have one of my favourite stealth games in the form of Dishonored. Playing as Corvo Attano, you'll have to make your way through a dystopian world using a wide range of abilities, from a blink ability that allows you to teleport short distances, to possessing animals to take advantage of multiple ways that you can achieve your objectives. And your actions have a real impact on the world, as the chaos system means that the less you go for stealth and the more aggressive you are in your playstyle, the more guards you'll find in later levels, and the more grim the world will become. So for £1.59 or $1.99, I think Dishonored is a great deal. Pyre is next, an RPG packed full of character, where you'll have to lead your group of exiles towards their freedom, as they compete in a series of rituals that sees teams trying to get a ball into the opposing team's pyre. Should you manage this though, the player who scored will be out of the game for a short time, so the losing team will actually have an advantage and a chance to come back into the game. Now, personally, I really enjoy the rituals, but what really sells this game is the world that's been built here, and the cast of characters that you meet along the way. Pyre is a truly unique and enthralling game, and is on sale for £3.87 or $4.99. Next up, we have Doom 2016, and this is a game that makes it on these lists a lot. And that's because it's just such an awesome game at a ridiculously low price. Doom offers meaty, fast-paced combat, a good amount of exploration, and the addition of glory kills that drop health means that you can stay in the action for longer. Now, 2020's Doom Eternal is also on sale and would be a good choice too, but it's significantly more expensive than Doom 2016, which for just £3.74 or $4.99 is an excellent choice. Moving on to the cheapest game on today's list as we come to One Finger Death Punch. This deceptively simple game only requires two buttons to play: left click and right click. Left click attacks enemies on the left of you, and you'll never guess where right click attacks enemies. The challenge here though is not missing a single enemy throughout the level, and while that may sound easy, the concentration required and the reactions needed make this a much harder task. And while this one might not provide the depth of some of the other games on this list, for just 79p or 99 cents, the sheer amount of over-the-top gory fun it offers means you'll easily get more than your money's worth. So next then, let's go for something with that depth, as we come to Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor Game of the Year Edition. This open-world RPG sees you play as a ranger called Talion, who merges with the Wraith of Celebrimbor, saving him from death and giving him new and interesting abilities. Gameplay-wise, what we have here is a combination of stealth and tight Arkham-style combat, which some players may find a little simplistic. But the real star of the show here is the Nemesis system, which gives the orcs you'll be fighting and controlling their own personalities, and sees them fight each other for power and rise through the ranks, all of which can be influenced by you. And your fights with these orcs will lead to little backstories forming, where the orcs will remember what you did to them in the past. As a huge Lord of the Rings fan myself, this is an easy recommendation. But even for those who aren't, at just £3.99 or $4.99, there's a lot of game here for a very good price. FTL Faster Than Light is next, a game that sees you warping through a randomly generated galaxy, fighting enemies, gaining new crew and weapons, and just trying to survive as long as possible. The game is all about the decisions you make, and nowhere is this more true than in the combat. You'll have to choose the best weapons to take down the enemy ship, and where you want to point them. Do you want to hit their shields, their oxygen supplies, their weapon systems, or something else entirely? And where do you want to assign your own crew to have vital systems functioning and fighting any crises that arise? FTL Faster Than Light is available for £1.74 or $2.49. And sticking with our space theme, Interplanetary Enhanced Edition is next. This one has you build up the infrastructure on your planet through a long and varied tech tree and a wide range of buildings, but more importantly, destroy your enemies' planets with crazy weapons like solar lasers and redirected asteroids. Now, this one is definitely best played with friends, as the combat system means that you actually have to aim some weapons, and getting that incredible slingshot around the gravity of the sun that hits the target is just so much more satisfying when you're playing against an actual human. Just be careful, because it's entirely possible to hit yourself. Interplanetary Enhanced Edition is on sale for £1.64 or $2.24. We come back to one of our regulars for these lists next with Yakuza 0. I'll try to keep this brief, as anyone who's watched these videos before will know my love for this game. But what I will say is Yakuza 0 is a wacky, weird, and extremely fun game wrapped up in the skin of a serious, gritty brawler. Yakuza 0 features 2 maps crammed full of things to do and side missions to be found, and for me is the best in the series. So for just £3.74 or $4.99, I think it's an absolute steal. On to something a little more sedate as we come to Penko Park, a game that sees you taking pictures of cute, if slightly creepy creatures, and trying to get the best shot possible. And if you're getting Pokemon Snap vibes here, you're absolutely correct. The level and creature design are excellent in my opinion, and if you're looking for something a little more calming from this sale, then at £4.99 or $6.49, Penko Park may be worth a look. Thumper is next, a devilishly tricky rhythm game that sees you racing along a track, flying over obstacles, banging off walls, and even fighting bosses. The style here is just bizarre, and for me in a good way, offering an interesting soundtrack and dark, menacing levels. The joy in these sorts of games for me is beating the frustration. Getting it wrong over and over again sucks, and is a feeling I know well. But it's all worth it when you beat that tricky section, or find yourself really in the rhythm and hitting every mark. Now, note here that a controller is highly recommended to play this one, but assuming that isn't a problem, Thumper comes in at £4.79 or $5.99. And let's finish off the under £5 category with another of my regular favourites, in the form of Deus Ex Mankind Divided. A game that puts you in a world where some people have been augmented with mechanical upgrades to their biological form. Now though, any who have had these orgs installed are looked upon with fear, and treated like second-class citizens. You play as one of these augmented people, as you take control of the gravel-voiced Adam Jensen. Mankind Divided is a game that lets you play your way, where stealth, attack, and persuasion are all options, and the orgs that you choose to upgrade will help you with your playstyle. Deus Ex Mankind Divided is on sale for £2.99 or $4.49. On then to the under £10 category, and we're going to start with Slay the Spire, a roguelike deck builder that will have you make your way through random encounters to defeat enemies and build a deck strong enough to take on the final boss. Now, it should be said that there is some RNG involved here, but generally, if you're willing to be a little bit flexible in the type of build you're looking to make on each run, a skilled player can make it work. The joy for me here is in finding cards and relics that synergize perfectly. For example, in a good Shiv deck you can get cards that allow you to deal out massive damage at zero cost. The number of viable builds here and RNG make this one massively replayable too, so for just £6.62 or $8.49, Slay the Spire is a real bargain. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is next. Probably my favourite Star Wars game of recent years, though it hasn't had too much competition for that title in a little while. What sets this one apart from most attempts at Star Wars games with Jedi combat in them is that the combat here is more deliberate and actually requires some thought. Even basic enemies aren't just going to let you destroy them just because you happen to have a lightsaber. And there's definitely some Dark Souls influence on display here, though really nowhere near as hard. So if you're looking for a superb Star Wars experience that has some actual depth to it, at £8.74 or $9.99, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order might be worth a look. Next is Barotrauma, a game that has you brave the depths of a horror-filled ocean alongside your crew in your submarine. Now this is another one of those games that I would say is so much better when played with friends. The nature of Barotrauma means that you have a crew where each member has a specific role, and the communication you get when playing with friends just makes that so much more interesting. Plus, it's really funny to hear everyone's reaction when you find some Cthulhu-esque monster at the bottom of the ocean. That's all boosted by the fact that there's also proximity chat available, that hampers your ability to communicate and makes each mission considerably more difficult. At just £5.37 or $7.49, I feel Barotrauma is a great buy. Moving on, we have a game that I feel was hampered by the lack of success of its predecessor, and it's Watch Dogs 2. While the original Watch Dogs was drab and dull and didn't live up to the hype, Watch Dogs 2 is a colourful, fun adventure well worth playing. It leans into the over-the-top hacker setting and has fun with it, and even has a relatively likeable main character, especially when compared to the original's Aiden Pearce. Now, I can definitely see some people being turned off by a wacky open-world game with a lot of over-the-top humour, but for me, I had a lot of fun with Watch Dogs 2, even though I didn't like the original, or even the more recent Legion particularly. Watch Dogs 2 is on sale for £9.99 or $9.99, so the US market is getting a better deal than us Brits on this one. 2 Point Hospital is next, a management game that doesn't take itself too seriously. In this theme hospital-inspired game, you'll spend your time building new facilities, hiring and firing staff, and treating patients with a range of silly illnesses. Now, personally, I had the help of nostalgia with this one, from playing a lot of Theme Hospital as a kid. But even if you haven't had that experience, this is a great game in its own right, and at £6.24 or $8.74, I think it's worth your money. Up next is Civilization 6, a huge empire-building strategy game that sees you start with a settler unit and a warrior unit, and build up to control the globe, progressing through tech and history. You'll also meet some of history's great rulers as you play, and each will have their own agenda. And while they might be friendly at times, everyone is playing to win. Now, for me, the fun here is in the alternate histories that you can create, like getting flight long before anyone else, and pitting your planes against their spearmen, or even by building wonders in places you wouldn't expect, like the famous Pyramids of Manchester that everyone obviously knows about. As for why Civ 6 over one of the earlier installments, well, the district system offers a more deep city building experience and allows for more planning to gain adjacency bonuses, which I think offers a better experience. Civ 6 is on sale for £7.49 or $8.99. Almost at the end of the under £10 category then, as we come to Stardew Valley, a game that sees you leave the hustle and bustle of city life behind to take over your grandfather's old farm, growing crops, fishing, exploring, and building relationships with the locals. This one is deceptively laid back and simple, as in reality, you can easily sink in hundreds of hours here if Stardew Valley grabs you. So on sale for £6.59 or $8.99, if you're looking for something a little more laid back this summer, Stardew Valley might be for you. Finishing us off for this section, well, look, what were you expecting? It's my favourite game of all time as we come to The Witcher 3 Game of the Year Edition. This massive RPG has you playing as Geralt of Rivia as he searches for his adoptive daughter Ciri as she tries to evade the Wild Hunt. All of which is frankly brilliant. But the truth of it is that you'll likely forget about this main quest for a lot of the game, as there's just so much more to do and see, and all in what feels like a living, breathing world. Alongside the brilliance of the base game, the Game of the Year edition nets you the Blood and Wine and Hearts of Stone expansions, which adds so much content to an already huge game. And at just £6.99 or $9.99, if for some reason you haven't picked this one up yet, now is the time to do it. Starting us off in the over £10 category then, we have one of the best games of 2021 in It Takes Two. This co-op platformer and puzzler has you and a friend take control of a couple whose relationship has broken down until they are shrunken and have to find a way to work together. I know it sounds a little bit odd, but trust me, this is an inspired game. Each level offers new and interesting mechanics, and often the two main characters will have completely different abilities, which truly forces them to work together to find a way forward. Add on to all that only one player needs to own the game, as the Friend Pass allows for your friend to play with you for free, and you have an excellent package coming in at £13.99 or $15.99. Disco Elysium: The Final Cut is next, an RPG in which your choices really matter, and with so much to discover and explore. At the start of the game, you'll wake up as a man with no memory of who he is or what's going on, and piecing together your life is a big part of the story. Not to mention the murder that you'll have to solve as well. Now, this is a game jam-packed with skill checks, and depending on what you choose at the start of the game and what you've done along the way, some aspects of the game may be barred off to you. And while some players may find this a downside, personally, it just gave me an excuse to play through it again and enjoy what I'd missed the first time. Happily too, the Final Cut version features full voice acting, so any concerns about reading massive blocks of text should be put to bed. And at just £12.24 or $13.99, I highly recommend giving Disco Elysium a look. And from one excellent RPG to another as we come to Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition. This is a huge game with so much to do and explore, and quests around every corner. The combat here is turn-based, which may put some players off, but it has fantastic variety, with spells and abilities that can do things from giving the character wings to making meteors fall from the sky. And if you play the way I do, you'll often find the entire battlefield is engulfed in flame. Now, I played this one through with friends and had a blast, but it can equally be enjoyed in single player, and for £11.99 or $17.99, I think it's a real bargain. On now to the most expensive game on today's list in Psychonauts 2. This sequel to the 2005 platformer released last year to show us what we've been missing. The world created here is weird and wonderful, and the platforming and combat aspects feel solid and have enough abilities to keep things interesting. It's the characters that really carry this game though, with pretty much every one of them being unique and interesting, including Raz, who you'll take control of. Now at £27.49 or $29.99, the truth is that waiting a little bit longer may well be the smart thing to do, as this one still has some way to drop in price. But I just love this game so much, and maybe it will be cheaper in the future, but it's still definitely worth its current price tag, in my opinion. And finishing us off for today is the XCOM 2 collection. A bundle that bags you not only the excellent base game of XCOM 2, but also the War of the Chosen expansion, which adds in new classes, environments, and the imposing enemies The Chosen, alongside the Tactical Legacy Pack, and some frankly unnecessary cosmetics. Now, XCOM 2 is one of my personal all-time favourites, offering a great blend of base building, character progression, and randomly generated encounters. Designing your soldiers, giving them names, and watching their backstories grow is one of my favourite elements, and makes you really want to keep them safe on missions. The War of the Chosen expansion only adds to that experience, and gives yet another reason to play and replay this game. Yes, there is quite a bit of RNG here in the turn-based combat, but generally if you keep your characters in cover and make sure they're properly equipped for the mission, you shouldn't have too many problems. I loved 2012's XCOM Enemy Unknown, and XCOM 2 improved on it in almost every way in my opinion. And with this bundle coming in at just £10.11 or $13, there's never been a better time to give the franchise a go. So, there we have it, another Steam summer sale. I hope you found a game or two on this list to your liking, and if you have any other suggestions, please do leave them down in the comments to help everyone find the best games possible this sale. After all, I haven't played every game out there, and even if I had, this video has to have some kind of time constraint. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, a like and subscribe is very much appreciated. And there's also a Green Man Gaming affiliate link down in the description that gives me a small percentage of every sale made through it at no extra cost to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're having a fantastic summer. I've been Nathan, and I'll see you next time.